There she is. Welcome to the Garden Show. I'm Peggy Ballister Howells. We're not in front of my Ocean Grove house, but it makes a pretty picture. It snowed here the last few days. Luckily, that's pretty much all going away. Sorry, we are a couple minutes late. That is entirely my fault. Those of you who watched last week are aware that I had COVID. I got worse before I got better. I'm now better. Not so sure I'm a lot better than I was last week, but I am better than I was when I was worse than I was before I got better. So bear with me. It took me a little longer to get myself put together this morning. And of course, all kinds of stupid things went wrong. You know, little things that just, but we're all good now. I don't even have a dog. Where's my, oh, there. Hey, Alfie, you want to start the show? Come here. No. He has been very good at keeping me company. Makes an excellent nurse. Here he is. Say good morning to everybody. He has been laying on the bed next to me, taking very good care of me. Didn't get a lot of gardening done, but I did get some stuff done. And I did actually eventually feel up to working on the tree, not painting the uppermost branches, which would require either ladders or leaning over the rail. And I didn't think that was a good idea under the circumstances, but I did. We'll get to that. So remember that you can like and subscribe on both YouTube and Facebook, and follow and share and all of that good stuff. And the number here is 888-399-7344 if you want to call in with your questions. And people have been sending me pictures, which is a lot of fun. And I have some that I can add this week, and suggestions, which I can do some research on, which is also fun for stuff that I can add for next week. So you can reach me through the website, which is Garden with Peggy. Oh, did I say welcome to the Garden Show again? I think I did. It's not the Garden Show anymore. It's Garden with Peggy. So, and that is the name for everything. So if you want to find us on YouTube or on Facebook, it's Garden with Peggy. So has anybody called in yet? Let's give the number again. It's 888-399-7344. And would love to chat with you, see what's going on in your garden. There are things happening. There's no doubt about it. What should we start with? Should we start with, let's start with this week at Tiny Farm. Okay. I threw this in because it was just fun. There was actually a day this week that was National Gumdrop Week, National Gumdrop Day. And it was I found it kind of fascinating that when I was looking for a picture of gumdrops, all I could find was gummy bears. It took a really long time to find a good picture of gumdrops. Do you remember gumdrops from our childhood? And they were a wonderful sugary thing. And now there's dots, which we've talked about dots before, that they don't really have that sugary coating. Not that they need it because they're pure sugar. But I just wanted to honor the classic gumdrop. So this was kind of fun. If you look closely, you can see that there's 5 seedlings popping up. Those are the 5 seeds. So I got 100% germination of that weird tomato we've been talking about, BHN 589, supposedly an excellent determinate tomato, one that does well in hoop houses or for greenhouse production. So I've got 5 plants that popped up. I intend this week, I should have a little more energy this week, to pot them up in 5-gallon drums, or the equivalent big giant pot, something like that, and get them going in the greenhouse, so that I'm hoping that we may even possibly be able to have tomatoes by Memorial Day. But look, we got 5. Now I'm not going to touch them or transplant them until they have true leaves, because I don't want to bend them or mess up with those little cotyledon leaves. So they need to get a couple of more leaves on them before I'm ready to transplant them. But I'm very pleased that we did manage to get all 5 seeds to germinate. And the orchid has come into bloom in all its glory. It was partially open last week, but now it's open. I did hose it down. It has a few mealies on it. I got most of them off by just hosing it with, kind of, I didn't want to go too fierce because I didn't want to injure the flower itself, but I got most of the mealies off by just spraying it with the hose. And this is that weird aloe called hedgehog aloe. And it's been about to bloom for like 2 months. And I think this is about the most we're going to see. There are more of those little tubey buds that are going to open, but some of them have already started to fade. So I think this is the maximum we're going to see at any one time. It's at least a foot tall, maybe 15 inches. From a very small plant. So I think it's kind of fun and interesting and it's the most robust aloe flower I've ever seen. There are many, many kinds of aloes, and of course they all bloom and the flowers are all similar, but this one is this is a very big flower from a very small plant. So I think that's pretty impressive. Oh, I'm very excited about this. We've talked about this a few times. And a few weeks ago, we did a little video where I showed you how I pruned some things back and I propagated, and I took some other things to fill in this little dish garden that it was looking a little lopsided. And I added that pink jelly bean plant that's on the left, and then cut back some of those other little succulents. But you see, two things. Last time I showed it to you, that Haworthia that's kind of significant at, say, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock over there. The arrow on the top is pointing to the flower bud that was about to bloom. But when I showed you the picture last week, the thing that I had pruned back in the middle with that other yellow arrow hadn't done anything at all. And I was beginning to be concerned that maybe I had cut it back too far. It wasn't going to resprout. But look at the picture on the right. The Haworthia flower has elongated and is blooming off camera, but it is continuing to bloom. But look at all the little new growth coming on that succulent. It makes me very happy. So it should be nice and full and really gorgeous by the time the plant exchange happens, which I might use it as a prize, or I might give it away, or unlikely that I'll keep it because I have so many of these things. But I was very pleased. It did resprout, so that made me very happy. Okay, this is the Mexican petunia, and we've talked about this many times. This was in the garden last year, and if you look at the right, those are all the cuttings that we took, and we place them in water. They root very easily in water, and you don't need to leave a lot of leaves, just a couple of leaves on the top of the stem. And of course, you want to make sure that you have a root node, a leaf node at the bottom of the cutting, because leaf nodes is where any kind of new growth, either buds or roots, whatever you're trying to happen there, that's the most active part of the plant is by the leaf nodes. So it did not take long to go from newly put into the water to having sufficient roots for potting up. And we had plenty of roots. Look at that. Every single cutting rooted nicely. And we were able to pot up 6 pots. And in the past, I've propagated them in the past, and I've successfully, but I've also lost a couple in the course of the winter, but not this year. This is them now. Look at how they've just really thrived, every single one of them. And you can see the nice new, more robust leaves and that they're tall. And some of them are actually starting to put out little flower buds. They look really great. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, this was a present from my sister. For those of you who know me, know that butterscotch pudding is one of my favorite things to eat in the whole world. And my husband prefers chocolate, but it turned out before Dad passed away, Tommy's dad, that he also loved butterscotch pudding. So whenever Dad would come, I would make butterscotch. Now you always use mighty fine pudding. And I I supplement it. I do dress it up. I put extra sugar in it. I make it out of half and half and heavy cream. I put egg yolks in it. I definitely spruce it up. But Mighty Fine has stopped making butterscotch pudding. I was beside myself when I learned this. I couldn't find it. I contacted the company and they said they aren't making it anymore. Jordan found me 2 boxes of Jell-O, and my sister, who knows about this, just sent me these in the mail. So they arrived this week. So I have yet to try Jell-O butterscotch pudding, and of course I will augment it as well. But not happy with Mighty Fine Company. All right, so went around outside and took some pictures trying to see what was happening. These are 2 different sets of flower buds that are coming on my hellebores, obviously right through the snow. So they're very, very exciting. Hellebores will bloom in the winter. There's most of the ones, including the ones we're looking at right here, are hybrids. The most famous of the hellebores is the Christmas rose, Hellebora nigra. And then there's the Lenten rose, which is Helleborus orientalis. And then there's, I'm sorry, the stinking hellebore. I didn't name it. And that's Hellebore foetidus, which is probably the least known, but actually very interesting. And now all the ones that are available are pretty much hybrids. The Lenten rose had the most color in it. And that bloomed the latest. And the truth is that the Christmas rose would often bloom at Christmas. And it was a Victorian tradition to take the flowers and float them in a bowl of water as a centerpiece for the holiday. So these are the hybrids that are blooming, of course, after Christmas, but blooming now. And this is Heath, which is blooming. It's one of the earliest bloomers in the garden, and it makes me very happy to see that it's blooming now. It's a real sign, one of the very first things that you'll see bloom in the spring. I've had these plants a few years now, and they do get a little bit scruffy looking, but they will stay just because anything that blooms this early deserves a hug. And camellias. Now, I had that pink camellia that bloomed all winter long. It still actually has a few flower buds on it that may open, but these are my 2 other camellias. You can see the one on the right is pink, and that one looks like it may be starting to open any day now. The one on the left is one of the more confusing ones. It has a very red flower, and it's supposed to bloom at Christmas, and it's part of the name, Christmas, but I don't remember the whole name, but it has bloomed for me in the fall, but it holds on to its buds and blooms very early. There's been at least 1 year where I got some flower buds on the flowers opening in the fall, and then some flower buds opening in the spring. So some around Christmas, some around later. At least it's hardy enough that the buds don't all freeze and fall off, which is one of the problems with camellias. So I always only try to purchase ones that say they bloom in the fall. They don't always do what they say they're going to do, but I am optimistic. Looking at all these flower buds, I am very optimistic. And the pussy willow, look at that. The pussy willow is in fuzzball mode. This is my weeping pussy willow, so I won't get the nice long stems with catkins on them, but I do enjoy looking at it. And again, another sign that spring is definitely almost here, almost here. Now, these things, we've been talking about cloches and bell jars for a few weeks now. These pictures came from Anne Marie and Uncle Art from Florida that they found in the dollar store. Now, I don't know about dollar stores in Florida. I don't know if that means they're actually $1. Are they $1 in the dollar store? I don't know. Some dollar stores are now $1.25. They're not really dollar stores. They're $1.25 stores. Of course, 5 and dimes used to be 5 and dimes. Well, that changed a long time ago. I don't know. Are there any 5 and dimes left? Woolworth, Grant? I don't know. But they've been replaced with dollar stores that are now $1.25 stores in most cases. But I've seen dollar stores where things can be as much as $3 or $4 in the dollar store. So I don't know. But these are available. And if you look, you can see very closely that there's little holes in them in the base around the edge. and you can use those holes to put pins in to hold them in the ground, so that would help. I might even, consider using something like that for my tomatoes when I try to get them going in the container and then move them out. And then also, if you look at the top, they have that little spinny thing that you can either open for air circulation or close if you want to really keep the humidity up and the cold out. So thank you, Anne Marie and Uncle Art, for sending us this picture. And we will keep our eyes out for them in our local New Jersey gardens, dollar stores. All right, I did work on my cherry tree, just a little bit. Again, I was really pretty much flat on my back for a good 3 days, so got behind on everything. But I can thank my husband because he managed to change the toggle, which was not a simple change because it's one of those, what do you call it? A double, a triple? Double post where you can turn the light on at the base of the stairs or the top of the stairs. So had to buy a special one that they don't carry in the local stores in brown. So we had to order it online. You can get them in white, but you can't get them in brown. And the whole idea was to make it brown. So he switched it out. It's really a very dark brown. I wish it was a lighter brown, but it's better than white. And I purchased a unfinished wooden switch plate cover. If you look very, very carefully at the lower left-hand corner of the plate cover, you can see some polka dots, which I tried very hard to camouflage. That were, it was customized. Alfie decided to customize it a little bit. He found it and he chewed on the corner just a little bit. But I sanded it a little bit and then I painted it, and then I don't think it's really that noticeable. And then if you also notice that I did start adding flowers. I did get some flowers painted. I didn't get to the leaves. So today is going to be a leaf day. So I did most of this flower painting yesterday was when I finally got, moved on to actually functioning. All right, and this is what it looks like overall. So I added a whole bunch of flowers without getting to any leaves. I think, we're making progress. It's looking pretty good. One of the things I'm looking forward to is getting some petals on the ground. Have like it dropped some flower petals, but haven't gotten to that yet either. So, okay, so, and the last thing is, today is Tommy's birthday. So happy birthday to my husband. And thank you for all your help, even though we're working on his birthday. Kira's coming later. So we will celebrate. And the real celebration is actually going to be next week because we were sick all week. So we didn't really plan anything, but we'll get some takeout and celebrate tonight. And then next week our son will come. So, all right. Can I give the phone number again? It's 888-399-7344. That's 888-399 Pegi, that's 7344. And would love to hear from you. So since we don't have any callers, right? That's a little bit odd. We usually do have some callers at this point, but let's do that little video that I showed that we did of that little pot. Let's do a little video, and I'm gonna give myself my voice a little bit of a break. This is a beautiful pot, and I love it, but the way it is now, it's worthless to me because it doesn't have a drain. And I want to put, it's heavy though, and I want to put a very top-heavy succulent in it, which would work because it's got a wide base, unlikely to tip, but no drainage. So we're going to try to do this. And I have my handy drill with one of the silver, more sturdier drill bits. And also, I'm going to use a little water because when you drill porcelain, if you keep it cool, you've got a better chance of it not breaking. So we're going to give this a whirl here.
it's made a dent, but it hasn't gone through yet, but it has made a dent. So we're going to keep going, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. We did it. We have a hole. It's not a big hole. I think maybe I should ream it out a little bit and just make it just a tiny bit bigger. I think that's good. This is the plant that I want to put in this pot where we just drilled a hole. You can see it's really lopsided. Not only is it about to fall over, it's already a pot in a pot to make sure that it doesn't tip. So what we're going to do is we're going to put paper towel on the bottom because we don't want that little tiny hole to get blocked. And so we've got some soil in here. Use my favorite spoon. Now there really isn't, this pot that it's in is actually very small. I'm hoping we can get this out without losing any of the foliage. Nope, that's not gonna happen. Okay, so I'm gonna use this to cut around the edges, help it get out. Let's try it again. Aha, perfect. And I'm gonna put it all the way to one side. Somehow we got lucky, and the height of the soil is perfect. Down, not too hard, but and there we go. Success.
Background there. Oh, there I am. Okay. Can we go to the phones? We have Nancy from Somerset. Hey, Nancy, how you doing today?
Hi. I'm well. I'm sorry I missed the show last week. I will look at it in, sometime this week. So I'm sorry that you were sick, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
I've heard this term called COVID post-exertion fatigue, which means if you try to comb your hair, you're knocked out for the next 3 hours, which is,
oh my God,
kind of true. I get really tired, but I don't feel really sick anymore. My voice isn't 100%, but anyway, we're on the mend. So how are you? And today's Tommy's birthday, so we're going to be happy no matter what.
Yay. Happy birthday, Tommy. I'm well. Yeah, doing real well. I was interested in your little Mexican petunias. I have um, 7 plants going, and they are thriving. And to the point that I was wondering if some of the biggest ones, like they're 12 inches tall now, if I can replant, oh, I'm on delay somehow. Let me just lower the volume. Yeah. Okay, now I'm back to real time. If I can take more cuttings from the top of the ones that I have and, root them again.
I don't see
what I
why
mean?
not. They root so easily, they really do
Yeah.
root easily. They'll be a little smaller to start with. But I am just going to throw this out. Last year, I had problems with 2 plants that had me completely befuddled. One was the Mexican petunias, and the other was the popcorn plants. That neither one bloomed anywhere near as early as they had in the past, nor did they produce anywhere near as many flowers as they had. The plants stayed smaller, and in both cases, they're completely unrelated to each other. And I grew them the same way as I had grown each of them in the past, the popcorn plants from seed and the Mexican petunias from cuttings. But neither one did fantastic. So if it were me, I would consider, giving yourself a head start with bigger plants to see if maybe you've got a better shot, because last year, unless, you didn't have that problem last year. I know other people did in addition to me, but maybe not everybody, but they did not do as great as I had hoped. So, you could take a few cuttings, but if you're going to start with really small cuttings when you plant them out, you may be encouraging that same problem. So maybe just take one of the big ones and take cuttings from it and leave a couple of big ones to give yourself options.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The reason I thought about it was in Puerto Rico, they use this plant as a hedge, and they just cut it with, it's obviously hired people. They just cut it with electric hedge cutters to trim it down to be hedge height. And so that's why I thought maybe I could experiment with, because once I put them in the ground, I don't prune them at all. I like the height when they get to be as tall as they are. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
and then one other thing.
They are, they're hardy down there. They're not hardy around here.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference. And in fact, they're considered invasive in some places where they are hardy, because they are so prolific and they spread and they keep coming back and they pop up all over. So we don't have that problem because, obviously they don't survive our winters, not even close. So, so you can let them get as big as you want, because they're not going to survive the winter anyway. But they're fantastic plants, and I really enjoy having them. The fact that they're purple, of course, it doesn't hurt either. But they, so if it were me, I would, maybe take a few more cuttings so you have a few more plants for sure. But I would leave a couple big just so that you've got a really good head start on the season, if it were me.
Good. Sounds like a plan. And then real quick, I just remembered I have tickets for the Philadelphia Flower Show. And I was wondering, think about it if you want me to look for anything in particular.
Somebody
when I'm there
wrote me something about bioluminescent petunias. I just got this. I got a text last night about this, so I'm going to investigate this week. It was too late for me to do anything about it for this week's show, but I will definitely investigate it. So if such things exist, they might have them at the flower show. So if you could take some pictures of that, that might be fun.
Okay. Not going until I think it's March the 2nd, the preview for members. So feel free to keep letting me know of anything to look for.
I will definitely do that. And isn't the New Jersey Flower Show coming up? That's usually the end of
Yeah. Right. I was coming back from Brooklyn yesterday and I saw a billboard on 287 announcing it for next weekend.
Next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, now isn't that interesting? Okay, well, we're going to have to look into that and see if we can get some more information about that on the air. So I think Tommy's looking it up now. Are you looking it up now? Yes.
February 23rd
February. Yeah, but it's how many days does it run?
to the 25th.
The 23rd to the 25th. And that's in Edison, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
convention center.
At the convention center in Edison. I might go to that. I might go on Saturday. That might be a fun thing to do. Okay. Well, thank you for that
Let me
information.
know. I don't know what my plans are for next weekend, but let me know if you're there. I'll meet you.
I know on Sunday we're supposed to be celebrating Tommy's birthday since we're not really celebrating it today. But I don't think we have any plans for Saturday. So that might be a perfect thing to do. So I will be in touch.
Okie doke.
All right. Everything else good with you?
So, really good. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling and thanks for that information. And we will talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Okay. Well, we do have a few comments. Rob F. He's like becoming one of my favorite listeners. He's so reliable. He always says hello and good morning, and he's wishing you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
And Nancy wished you a happy birthday also. So,
Thank you.
and Dave from Metuchen, how am I feeling? I'm feeling. How am I feeling? So. I get really tired really fast, but I don't feel like really sick. I just like have low energy, and anybody who knows me knows that me feeling low energy is depressing to me because I don't like to sit around and be low energy. I like to do things. So I have been able to paint flowers this week, and I did some work in the greenhouse. In fact, we're gonna get to that very soon. Probably the next slide series that I show you. We'll get to that. So I have been able to do. But just watering the greenhouse, which is like one of my favorite things to do. I go out there, I get out the hose, I get out the little squirt bottle, I get out the little watering can. Each set of plants, I water them their own unique way. I don't water everything with a hose. Like the little tiny ones get the squirt bottle, the intermediate ones get the watering can, so on and so forth. And I go out there and I have a whole process, and I pick off dead leaves, and I rotate things, and I look for bugs. It nearly killed me. It was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is one of my favorite things to do. And now all I want to do is stay in bed for the rest of the day. But okay, greenhouse looks good. I got the job done. Watched a lot of stupid TV. Really. But I can say a couple things. For those of you who really, really like Downton Abbey, which I am a big Downton Abbey fan, and believe it or not, so is my husband. But it wasn't until I watched it the second time that he watched it with me, and he became addicted. There are many rumors, and they seem to keep showing up, that they are doing a season 7, not another movie, a season 7 of Downton Abbey. Looks like it's in the works. So I'm very, very excited about that. And in lieu of being able, to watch Downton Abbey for like the 5th time, there's another series on called The Gilded Age, which is actually, I would have to say probably predates Downton Abbey by a bit, but it actually, it's set in America, and I have read the book, The Gilded Age, and I've read other books, historical fiction from that time period, and in fact, nonfiction from that time period. And definitely one of the main characters is after Alva Vanderbilt, who was one of the wives of the Vanderbilt and the mother of Consuelo Vanderbilt, who she auctioned off to the highest bidder to marry a duke in England. And that was all true. And so a lot of the story is based on that. And they also have a whole part about building a mansion on Fifth Avenue. They're only building one. They only built one mansion on Fifth Avenue. And again, the Vanderbilts actually built a pair of them for the 2 brothers. And I'm pretty sure that was based on the historical accuracy of the Vanderbilts bringing in artistic masterpieces and salvage, if you want to call it that, from castles in Europe to build these amazing buildings on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're interested and you have COVID and you've already watched Downton Abbey, try the Gilded Age. It's pretty good. All right. So let's go to the phone. And it's Anne Marie calling from not in Milltown, not in Milltown,
Not New Jersey.
not in New Jersey. Hey, Anne Marie, how you doing?
Good morning. We're good, but it is rainy. Actually, I would category this weekend as a New Jersey rain weekend. That's how not nice it is here.
I'm sorry.
So we're happy to see you, and I'm happy to see you're better. But we really need to also say happy birthday to our friend Tommy. So we don't want to leave him out.
Did you hear that, my dear?
And
Anne Marie just wished you
good.
a happy birthday. And he says thank
and
you.
Art.
And Uncle Art. Okay. We appreciate that.
Okay. Okay. Those
I have his birthday present. And I asked him
Yeah.
if he wanted it today or if he wanted to wait until we celebrate next week. And he said he wanted it today.
Yeah, well, it's your real birthday.
It's his real
He's got
birthday,
a
and
real
it is
birthday,
it is
doesn't he?
his actual birthday. So yes, so all
You got
that
a fake
is
present next week.
so it was reasonable, but I had to print it on the printer in order to give it to him. And oh man, I couldn't ask him for his help, and the computers were not cooperating. And since he is my go-to computer guy, I had to figure it out for myself. I'm lucky that the computer is still in one piece. I did not heave it across the room. The printer is still functioning, but I did figure it out. It is printed. It is ready to give to him when Kira shows up for dinner. But it's it's basically just a piece of paper. So he'll have to see what it is later. But it's ready to go.
I hope it's a big fat gift certificate, but that's okay.
Well,
That's my
we'll
guess.
see. We'll see. I can't reveal. He's right here. I can't reveal.
I
But
know. it's a secret.
I am pretty sure he's going to like it.
Good. I wanted to tell you that those bell jars that Art sent a picture of, they're actually from Dollar Tree, which is $1.25.
It's $1.25.
They do have other things that are more money, but they were $1.25.
$1.25. Okay. Well, there's a few Dollar Trees around here, so I will definitely check them out because I think they'd be really good for my my whole, tomato in a pot project. I think that would work out pretty well.
I know. I went to a lovely thrift store down here and I looked for bell jars for you, but there weren't any.
Well, they will show up when, every once in a while they will definitely show up. So did you see my pictures of my tree? Did you see my pictures of my cherry tree?
Yes, it's beautiful, and your light switch, and you choose switch plate, and everything else. So it's all good.
It's coming together. It's the flowers,
Right.
when I painted the flowers on it, I put little dots on the flowers, and that really camouflaged the little chewing bits. So I don't think anybody in the world is going to notice it but me. So we'll see. So
You just told the whole world.
I did, but when you look at it, I don't think anybody's going to notice.
All right, I'm coming with a magnifying glass.
You're more than welcome to do that. Definitely more than welcome to do that. So you must be getting ready. You must be coming home soon. You've been gone a while. Soon?
No.
Oh.
It's just a long haul. So we're visiting lots of family down here. We're actually at our daughter's right now. So we've got you up on the computer for them to see you.
All right. Well, you enjoy yourself. I'm sorry that it's raining, but I'm sure it's warmer. We have snow and ice covering everything. Not a lot, and it's melting. But I could have done without anything. I can say that it did look really pretty. That this last snowfall looked really pretty, and that was kind of nice. And it didn't last too long, which was also good. So there's just remnants of it now, just a little bit here and there. The driveways are clean. Nothing needed to be plowed, but it was about 3 or 4 inches, and luckily it was warm enough that it disappeared quickly. So winter's really almost over. I have not really felt the change yet, but it could be that because I was inside all week, I really wasn't doing much. So I will, but I'm guessing that it's going to begin to really feel like a change. And very importantly, this is very important, Emery, the chickens are laying eggs
Yes.
again.
Oh, well, there we go.
There we go. I mean, they
Actually,
know better than we, so they have started laying. So we're definitely headed towards spring. So, and the other project I have
Good.
to do this week, I have to order more seeds. So I will order more seeds. I will take more pictures. I will have them ready for next week, and I'm going to look up that
Good.
bioluminescence petunia that somebody sent me about. So things to do, definitely things to do.
Okay, well, the daughter we're with, her son still lives up in the Shannon, and he wants to get some chickens. So I said, oh my goodness, they're wonderful, but does he realize that in between his work schedule, chickens are work because you have to feed them and clean up after them and go get those eggs inside. So I'm glad to hear I'm glad you're harvesting eggs this week.
Yes, I am. Well, Tommy's been doing it mostly since I was sick, but I'm anxious to get back out there and visit with my girls. So we'll see. All right. Well, you have give Uncle Art a hug from me, and thanks for that stuff about the bell jars, because that was fun. And we will talk again soon.
Okay, take care.
Okay,
have a good birthday today and again next week.
Okay, thanks, Anne-Marie. Bye-bye now.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. What should we do next?
Have a good birthday today and again.
Tommy, what should we do next? We want to do this.
Pigeon peas.
All right, let's do pigeon peas. Oh, this was from Anne-Marie and Uncle Art too. Let's do pigeon peas. So they sent me this last week, and I had it all prepped to go last week, but we didn't actually show it. So this was labeled a pigeon pea tree, and those definitely look like peas, right? I mean, looks like peas. And this is the pods and some flowers, and
Florida.
And this is in Florida, but you can grow pigeon peas in New Jersey. Interestingly, though, they don't grow into a tree because they're not hardy in New Jersey. But they're not really trees. I mean, I looked into them. I learned as much as I could. They will grow for like 3 to 5 years into a small tree or a shrub kind of thing. They produce peas in the first 2 to 3 years. After that, they don't really produce very many. So they're kind of cut back. But they're kind of interesting. Those are the pods. And look at the flowers. The flowers are really very pretty. And they are pea-like. And you can see the foliage is pea-like. And they are very good at nitrogen fixation, which is, of course, one of the things that peas and legumes are famous for, is that they can incorporate nitrogen into the soil, which is, organic way of getting nitrogen into the soil is important for crop rotation and that sort of thing. And you can eat them fresh like that. You can buy them or grow them, and you can eat them fresh, or you can dry them. These are dried pigeon peas, and they come in different colors. There's red varieties and green varieties, and you can dry them both. And again, you don't eat the pods. It's not an edible potted pea. You just eat the peas themselves, which would be technically considered the seed. So you are eating the seeds. And you can get them green. You can get them dried in cans. And then they also sell dried pigeon peas in a bag, just like you could get, green peas for pea soup, or you can get chichi beans, or so many different kinds of beans, the white beans. You can get them all dried and they last forever on the shelf practically, but you can also get them in cans. Now, here's one of the things that I found really interesting, and that they are used, not just the fruits or the seeds are not the only part that's used. The leaves and the roots are used for medicinal purposes. The leaves in Malaysia and Philippines are used to treat coughs, tummy problems, diarrhea, that kind of thing, your whole digestive tract. But in Java and India, the leaves are ground and used as a treatment for sores, wounds, and itches. And the roots are used in China as a sedative, an expectorant, an anthelmintic, and vulnerary. I had no idea what either of those two words meant. I'm like, okay, this is not very useful information. I've never heard of those words. And I have a pretty decent vocabulary, but I've never heard of those. The anthelmintic is for parasites. It's used to control parasites. And the vulnerary, that's just another word for treating wounds. They could have said that. They didn't have to use vulnerary, but that's what they said. But apparently the plant is grown worldwide. And one of the other things that I learned about it is that it's an excellent crop on less than ideal soils. So on that outer edges of agricultural areas that are marginal for growing a lot of other things, they're perfectly acceptable. They're tolerant of slightly wet ground. They're tolerant of slightly dry ground, and they will continue to produce pigeon peas. So they're produced all over the world. So I thought, that was kind of fun. I think that was the end, right? Was that so? So if you see them in the store, you might want to give them a try. All right, I'm going to give the phone number again. Sorry, my voice is beginning to go. Even though I don't feel really sick, I still, like I said earlier, I'm still kind of low energy. So the number here is 888-399-7344. That's Pegi, Pegi, 7344. So, and you can find us and send us information at Garden with Pegi, and we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. We're on those other things too now, don't we? Pop up on Instagram and TikTok. We pop up on all that stuff now. So you might just see us. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, share you can possibly do. The more that we can get out there, the better off we are. Our subscriptions have increased. Are we worldwide? Well, not exactly, but we're growing and we're having fun, and I have such a wonderful base of viewers and friends and people that call in, and we have such a good time. We hope to grow, but in the meantime, if we can keep our friends happy, that's the most important thing. So let's see. I have two options for things that I would like to do next. Should we do the Boea or the geranium propagation?
We got 10 minutes left, so
Let's do the geranium propagation. Okay, so this is my red geranium that I think is 5 years old, and it hangs every year at the Ocean Grove house, and I bring it in and I cut it way back. I have to cut it back when I bring it in because it won't fit in the greenhouse. It's on an automatic waterer when it's in Ocean Grove, and it gets watered several times a day for like 20 minutes at a small dribble. And the thing, it has southern exposure, and they just get huge. There's 4 of them and they get huge. So I cut them back when I bring them in, and I don't usually propagate them because I don't have room. I'm bringing so much into the greenhouse. I don't have really room to propagate at that point. But as you can see, it's starting to get a little weird. Doesn't look that great. So now is the time to propagate it. And I decided to try these things. We get a lot of takeout food, and they often come in these containers, these aluminum type containers with plastic lids. So I thought you could go either way with this. You could use the lid on top if you were going to use it for seeds, to just like a bell jar, or to increase humidity. Or you could take the lid and use it as a tray underneath to make sure that you have drainage. So that's what I decided to do, since we're making cuttings, and the lid would really not be big enough for the cuttings. So I used an awl and I punched a bunch of holes. I think I punched 6 holes in it. And I got out some rooting powder. It's always good to use rooting powder on geraniums. They root much better. And you just need a little bit. Oh, if you're wondering what that loud noise is, it's Juniper playing with a bone. She drops it on the wood. It makes a loud noise. Okay, so take a cutting. Unfortunately, you have to sacrifice the flowers. So the flower buds have to go. and you want to make it not too big of a cutting, but as I have said so many times, you need to make sure that at the base of the cutting is a leaf node, because the nodes are the most active. And then I dipped it in the rooting hormone, and you just need a little bit. You do not need a ton of rooting hormone. So you dip it in the little rooting hormone. I put it in the lid of the jar, as I showed you earlier, so that we're not trying to dip into the jar. And then I flick it off, so there's only a smidgen. And then I put it into the trays with, I was able to get 12 nice cuttings. And the soil, I broke up the soil. I made the soil nice and loose. There is drainage in the bottom of the pans. We used the lid. And then I went back to the parent plant, which, as you can see, we cut it way back. We tried to leave side shoots in as many places as possible so that it'll regenerate. You can see there's young, healthy shoots popping up. I cleaned out the top of the pots. I put fresh soil in. And then we put in a little, that's Osmocote fertilizer. So I sprinkled that in there and gave both the parent plant and the cuttings some water. And hopefully we're going to get a bunch more plants. Now, I have 3 more geraniums that need to be cut back. I don't know that I'm going to do 3 more trays because that's going to be a lot of geranium cuttings, but I might do one more. So we may base our takeout tonight on who's going to give me one of those trays. So we'll see, but they do work. They do work really well. So of course, there's plenty of other things that you can use as well, but this works pretty well. So so it's the time of year to do that, and that still gives us enough time for the parent plants to fill in and be nice and robust, and they'll take advantage of the lengthening days. And I gave them a nice shot of fertilizer, so by the time it's ready to hang them out again at the end of May, maybe even the middle of May, they should look pretty good. All right, was that the end of that? Was that the last? Okay, so can I give the phone number? We don't have too much time left. We have 5 minutes left. So I could give the phone number in case somebody's thinking about calling. 888-399-7344. That's Pegi, P-E-G-I. That's 7344. I apologize for the dogs being particularly active today. I think with the weather that they've all been going a little crazy because they can't really run around outside so much. But let's see, what are our other options? We have a couple other things. What's down there on the lower part? Anything that I missed down there?
Another propagation. You got the Bowie.
All right, let's do the Bowie because that's kind of fun. Yeah, the Bowie is kind of fun. All right, this is a really weird plant. It's called Bowia is its botanical name. It's also called sea onion. That's the name that I knew it by. It had some other weird names, but I always knew it as sea onion. And it is a climbing plant. You can see in the picture on the right that it was really up to the very top, and it was starting to climb onto the wires for the lights in there. So I had to disentangle that before we could take it down. And this is what it looks like, Bowia volubilis. And it doesn't really look like leaves. It almost looks like it would be something like seaweed, something that would come from the sea, which is why it's called a sea onion. But it's a lot of fun. It's a very interesting plant. And this is where the babies come from. And you can use those to propagate. Can we go to is the video next, or are we supposed to show the little video next? Yes. See, we put the word action. How do you like that? So we're going to show the video next. Okay, so this is me struggling a little bit, trying to pull out one of the onion-like growths. This one didn't look horrific. It looked like it was a little dry. Didn't have anything come out of the end. But it was still firm. So look at what we did. We pulled it out, and look at that. It looks like it's all dried up, but look as we took it apart. Inside, it still had lots of new growth. So we decided, you know, we're going to pot it up and we're going to take the babies and we're going to pot those up too. So that was kind of fun. And we needed to get some pots ready, which I'll show you. But look, we're going to take it apart even more. And see, those are, they're very similar to the pregnant onions. They're very similar the way it grows, but still the foliage and the way the bulbs are in the pot is completely different. So I did manage to get it apart. I'm taping this myself, so doing it everything one-handed here. But that's what we got. Isn't that kind of cool? And extra babies. So we put it together. And is there more video, or do we go back to the slides now? I think we go back to the slides now, right? Okay, so I got 3 pots. I actually got 6 of the little babies. And we'll show you one more video. So
I've got the pot ready. You can see there's not much in the way of roots on the bottom of this. So we're just going to press it down. It's not rotten in any way. It's not soft. So I think we have a pretty good shot. So we're just going to press it in there. The soil's moist. We'll give it a little bit of a drink just to settle it in, but not too much. And then we'll move that one over there and move these 2 pots closer together. And we're going to take these babies. You want to make sure that you have the root side down. We're going to do the same thing. Press this down a little bit. And then, again, make sure you have the root side down. And I'm going to do 3 per pot. This one's tiny. But this one actually has a little root. So hopefully these will all make it. All right, now the other pot, I have 3 more. Again, make sure you have the root side down. Oh, this one's got a good root. Put that one there. Again, a little drink, not too much. Soil's already moist, just want them to nestle in. We'll see this one wiggled a little, so we'll press it again. And then this one. And hopefully these will turn into this.
all right. Well, I've had that plant since I was in graduate school, which was a very long time ago. And I have been successfully able to propagate it. It is not common. It is not the kind of plant that you're going to find around all the time. So I should be able, if those little pots propagate and grow and turn into something, I will definitely have those available to give away at the plant exchange. So keep that in mind. And I've been getting, oh, this is so cute. I've been getting more notes. Nancy says that pigeon peas are a traditional dish for New Year's in Puerto Rico. I've heard that. Actually, I have heard that. And I guess they would commonly grow. They would be hardy down there. So they would grow and be available pretty much, you know, whenever you needed them. So that's kind of fun to know. All right. I think we've come to the end of the hour, right? We got through. All right. We're going to go celebrate Tommy's birthday. To be honest, for the next couple hours, I'm probably going to do nothing because, you know, I'm still a little worn out, but everything's good here. Remember that next weekend is the flower show in Edison, and I'm going to try to figure out when I'm going to go there. So maybe we'll cross paths. And I will be here next week, same time, same place. So until then, have a good one.